Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in this video I'll be doing my review of WWE Crown Jewel 2023. So on the kickoff show we had Sami Zayn defeating JD McDonough. This was an alright match to kick off the show. So they had a match on Raw maybe a few weeks ago that I thought was better, but I think this match kind of served its purpose, which was just to get Sami Zayn on the show. He got a big reception from the crowd, which of course he did. I do expect Sami Zayn to be in War Games in a couple of weeks, so I kind of see where that's kind of where he's going to be going as far as after this match. As for McDonough, he might be involved in the feud for War Games, but he's not going to be in the match. I don't think. I think we're going to do a Bloodline and Judgment Day versus a ton of babyfaces match, when JD just won't make the cut for the match really. But as I said, I just want the Judgment Day to decide whether they're going to add JD McDonough to the group or not. Instead of having him just around and then him kind of taking a load of bullets for him and kind of being their lackey almost. JD McDonough has a load of good potential and is a brilliant wrestler, and I loved him when he was in NXT and NXT UK. And I feel like just at the moment he's been pretty underutilized, whereas, you know, once he's part of the Judgment Day and they treat him as an equal, and things can be like really good for him, he can go for championships and also the good stuff that he deserves to have because he's really good. And yeah, I said, as for Sami Zayn, I think his path is pretty clear after Crown Jewel as going into Survivor Series. But as I said, this match served its purpose precisely bang on, which was just to have Sami Zayn on the card. The first match on the main card was Seth Rollins successfully defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. This was a good match, very evenly contested. They said it's one of the better matches on the show, though I wouldn't say it was match of the night. The crowd was mostly behind Drew McIntyre, which I was surprised about. Obviously, with Seth Rollins being so over just in general, you would have assumed that Rollins was going to be obviously more over here, but clearly not, as they were absolutely fully behind Drew McIntyre and properly booing Seth Rollins. But as I said, I expected a more vicious moveset from Drew McIntyre. He kind of did his classic, you know, nothing wrong with it, it's just his normal moveset. I expected more of a Killer Instinct kind of moveset from Drew McIntyre, where he would target the back more than he did. He did target it at points, but not as much as like Shinsuke Nakamura has been doing over the last few months. And just in general, he said that he's willing to break Rollins' back to win the world title, and it just didn't feel that way during the match. But yeah, there were some absolutely lovely counters during the match. The clothesline that got reversed into a pedigree I thought was awesome from Rollins. And alternatively, Drew McIntyre moving out of the way of the splash into the Claymore I thought that was it. I thought that was going to be match end McIntyre for the win, but no, Rollins kicked out at 2. I feel like McIntyre can beat Rollins for the title. I would really like to see a rematch between these two at Survivor Series, but maybe with a stipulation put into place. But I don't know, I'm not saying that Rollins' title reign's been stale, or has gone stale, but I just feel like it's time for him to kind of move away from the world title and what, he's had it for 6 months now, and all everyone ever talks about is bloody back. And it's like, okay, and plus this is a really good time to put the title on McIntyre, like even if he were to go into WrestleMania with the championship, or he loses it beforehand. It's just, I don't know, it feels like now is the best time for McIntyre to become champion that we've had probably since the pandemic. And it just doesn't sit well that he didn't win here. I feel like this was like the most opportune time, and unfortunately it just wasn't the case. But yeah, and then after the match, Damian Priest attempted to cash in, and Sami Zayn stole the Money in the Bank briefcase. It's all very meh. You know, AEW are currently doing a story where Jay White stole the belt from MJF, and now in WWE we're doing a storyline where Zayn has stole the briefcase from Priest. And I'm not saying like they're copying or anything, it's just like watching the same storylines on both shows is just a bit tedious, and I think going this way again confirms for me that Priest isn't cashing in before WrestleMania. I think he'll do it after WrestleMania and maybe kind of come up towards the deadline of Money in the Bank rather than cashing in before WrestleMania like they did with The Miz. But yeah, I said it's okay. And it was, I said, this match was definitely one of the better matches on the card. It's just that the ending was with the cash in was a bit meh, and then McIntyre not winning, I felt like it was a wrong decision, which kind of marked it down for me a bit. But I said I have nothing wrong with the match. The match was really good. I just expected things to go. Following that, we had Rhea Ripley successfully defend the Women's World Championship against Raquel Rodriguez, Zoe Stark, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler. This was another good match. There wasn't a dull period in this match. I think there was a huge win for Rhea Ripley, kind of taking out almost half of the women's division, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't agree with Shayna Baszler getting the pin here. I feel like it wouldn't have hurt maybe Nia Jax or Zoe Stark taking the pin, as I feel like Shayna Baszler could be one of the people that challenges Rhea Ripley just one-on-one. But it's not a massive thing, it's just that I would prefer it if Shayna wasn't pinned. I would like to see a one-on-one feud between Baszler and Ripley, and maybe a more intense feud between Ripley and Rodriguez, similar to what they had in NXT, just as Rhea Ripley was making her way out of NXT. But instead, yeah, it feels like the only two women on Raw that really can challenge Rhea now is a returning Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch, but I would definitely save Becky Lynch for more WrestleMania time, depending on who wins the Women's Rumble. But I'm very much looking forward to it. I've been loving Rhea's reign so far. I feel like it's been one of the better things on television for WWE. There's also the case of Jade Cargill, wherever she ends up, whether it be NXT, Raw, or SmackDown. If it's Raw, obviously she'll be put probably straight into a title feud with Rhea. But I feel like the better place for Cargill probably will be SmackDown, but that's my opinion. But yes, this was a really good match, really fun. Again, wasn't quite match of the night, though match of the night was really tough to decide for this one, as nothing was really groundbreakingly good. But as I said, I'm happy Rhea is still a champion. I'm a big fan of the Judgment Day and a big fan of Rhea, so yeah, absolutely buzzing that she got the win here, and I look forward to seeing what she goes on to do at Survivor Series. Following that, we had Solo Sikoa defeat John Cena. This was a decent match. Solo controlled the match for the most part. Cena got a bit of offense in. He managed to hit kind of the 4 moves of doom, but didn't get the attitude adjustment in. This was an incredibly good showing for Solo Sikoa, and yeah, as people know, it was more or less, it wasn't a squash match, but it was very close to being. And yeah, I said it made Solo look like a absolute threat, and I say if anyone were to be nervous about the kind of momentum that comes with beating John Cena this dominantly, it should be Roman Reigns. I don't feel like they're going to go into a feud with Solo and Roman, but you know, we know that Roman kind of has this, not fear, but like this intimidation factor of Solo Sikoa, and this will only just add to that. And yeah, do I think John Cena's done? Not really. I feel like this might be the end of his current run with the company, that he's going back to Hollywood now, but I don't feel like this is it for Cena. I think the most ideal thing is that if Randy Orton comes back at Survivor Series like he's rumoured to be, then maybe Cena and Orton have Cena's retirement match at WrestleMania. But as I said, there's been a lot of talk about retirement. I thought that with him talking about there how much Cena needs a win, that he would have won, but he didn't. I feel like this should be it now for John Cena and the Bloodline. No more John Cena involved in the Bloodline. Let's have him do something separate. But I think, yeah, just, I don't know. I don't want Cena to retire, but I think if he's going to retire soon, it ought to be at WrestleMania next year. As for Solo Sikoa, he'll just carry on his wave of momentum. He's like one of the best, most dominant heels on the roster, and eventually it is going to turn into championships. I think with him being on, with him being SmackDown, I can't see him beating like Logan Paul for the US title. But I feel like a US title is in his imminent future, maybe next year or the year after. But yes, Solo looked absolutely incredible here. But I don't think John Cena's quite done. After that, we had Logan Paul defeat Rey Mysterio to become the new United States Champion. The match itself wasn't bad. It was about how I expected it to go, really. Obviously, the big talking point is Paul winning the championship. But before I do, I just want to say, talk about other stuff beforehand, because I've got a fair bit written about the title change. But, you know, respect to Logan Paul for catching Rey Mysterio when he clearly could have really hurt himself. I know a lot of people have been saying that on Twitter and stuff as well. So yeah, absolute respect for Logan Paul for catching Ray. He just shows he's just an absolute professional, and it's so annoying to say. And yeah, he is so good at wrestling. He was doing some really good transitional moves, some really smooth technical wrestling with Mysterio. And yeah, it is so frustrating because you just want to hate him, but he is so good at this wrestling that you can't help but compliment it. And yeah, I'm one of them people where I'm not happy he's US champion, but as far as the wrestling standard goes, he kind of deserves it in a way, which is very hard for me to say. But yes, as for the title change, I am concerned this decision could do worse stuff for the championship. Like, the US title isn't as prestigious as it should be. You know, the run with Austin Theory kind of let it down, and then this run with Mysterio hasn't been great either, and this could probably make it worse, especially if Logan Paul has it on his videos and he kind of dicks around with it and doesn't take it very seriously. It could ruin the prestige of this championship, where it could become more of a joke than ever, which is very worrying in a case, and concerning just about how we're supposed to take a championship seriously when a celebrity is just parading around with it being a knobhead. But alternatively, on the other hand, if Logan Paul can use his platforms to elevate the championship, if he's around on SmackDown pretty regularly and having good matches on pay-per-views for the US title, it could up the prestige of the championship again and get it back to a point where it should be, where it has been in the past. For example, when John Cena was doing his open challenges. I'm not saying that Logan Paul should be on SmackDown every week, but if he can be on it enough to keep it relevant and to kind of and have matches regularly, even if it's just on pay-per-view, it would be a lot better off. And yeah, I don't know, it's just for me, if this is the way we're going now, but I would have then LA Knight take the title from him at maybe WrestleMania. Then he gets a decent run with the title, and then LA Knight can 100% higher the prestige of the championship once he wins it, and he'll make it feel like the world championship if LA Knight got it. So yeah, that's the way I'm hoping it goes. I'm hoping that Paul will elevate the title, and then whoever beats Logan Paul will also do that. But yeah, it's an interesting decision, and it makes me very curious to how this is going to go. It's putting a lot of trust in Logan Paul, and I see it as more of a risky move, but we'll have to see how it plans out. Hopefully we all get proven wrong in a way about the worries that we have, and that Logan Paul can actually elevate the title to the prestige it has, and more toward getting steps towards where Gunther has put the Intercontinental Championship. I'm not saying Logan Paul's going to do that, but enough good title reigns with good champions could get the US title to the prestige that the Intercontinental Championship currently has. Following that, we had Io Sky successfully defend the WWE Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. This for me was match of the night, and I know this isn't probably what people were thinking as far as matches go, but this was actually a really good match in my opinion. Bianca and Io Sky have really good chemistry together, and they showed that at Backlash. Though this match wasn't as good as the match at Backlash, this was still very good. But also, this match has made me more curious about the story going forward, which is what the other matches haven't done as much. So there's kind of two elements to why I've decided this is match of the night. And yeah, so for me, Io Sky is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers for the women's division. And I know this makes no sense as she's champion, but she is just not put in the same conversation as Asuka, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair. She's never put in that conversation, and she should be, because she's bloody brilliant. She's proven more or less all year, or at least since WrestleMania, how good she is. And it kind of annoys me how underrated she has been portrayed as. Here, I thought she was absolutely brilliant. You know, the athleticism, just transitional moves. There was a point where Bianca had a set up for something, and she just ran and went through the ropes as a reversal, and I thought that was an incredibly clever way of getting out of that position. And the moonsault on the outside is probably the best moonsault on the roster. It's better than Charlotte Flair's. It is brilliant. It's beautiful to watch. And yeah, I am incredibly curious to see where Io ranks on the top 250 women's wrestlers of the year by Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Because wherever if she doesn't make top 10, it's ridiculous. She should be in the top 10, and I'm not sure whether they've revealed the top 10. I know that Rhea got number 1, but I haven't had a chance to look to see who got top 10 or if they've even released the top 10 yet. But yeah, I mean, Bianca is great, and most of what I talk about is going to be about Io and damage control. But Bianca put in a good show in here, and I feel like we need to turn her heel sooner rather than later, and probably have her join up with Bobby Lashley's group. You know, the fact that they have Bianca Belair like on the roster, probably not going to do much after this match, and they're teasing B-Fab joining their group. It just seems a bit meh. Like, why would you have B-Fab when you can have Bianca Belair? That's all I'm saying. Nothing against B-Fab, it's just that Bianca Belair is so much better. But yeah, as for damage control, and we saw the return of Kairi Sane, which I'm very happy with. I've heard that Io and Kairi are going to form their own little group, and they say Bayley looked really concerned after the attack, after Kairi helped Io get the win, but I don't see why that is. And I kind of feel like this is going to go one of two ways, which is Io and Kairi form their own little group. I would have Asuka join that group just because Asuka isn't doing much at the minute, like since the last pay-per-view, which was, I can't remember. It's completely gone. Ever since the triple threat match between Io, Charlotte, and Asuka, we haven't actually seen Asuka. So apart from NXT. But yeah, I would have Asuka join this group, because I think that'd be a really dominant group, and we also heard someone we're not even thinking of could join the group, so that'd be pretty cool. I say they could then go against like a new formation of damage control. Obviously, we know that Dakota Kai isn't going to be cleared for the rest of the year, so that would leave Bayley with no friends, but she'll be able to find people, I guess. But because the other way to go is that Kairi joins damage control. And especially with Survivor Series and War Games coming up, you've got 4 members of a group, you only need 1 more, and then you've got 5 for War Games. So, I don't know, and it's also the case of Kairi helped Bayley out of the KOD position, and kind of Kairi didn't target Bayley at all. And I understand that there's the past history of last time we saw Kairi, Bayley's the one that took her out. I don't know whether we're going to continue with that or that's going to be an issue. But yeah, as I said, for reasoning of being match of the night is, I am curious to see where this goes, and I want to watch SmackDown like right now, if I could, to see what happens next with this storyline, because this makes me excited. Whether Io gets her own group, whether Kairi joins damage control, either way, it's going to be really good to see, good to watch, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Next up, we had Cody Rhodes defeat Damian Priest. This was okay. I mean, it didn't feel like it needed to be on this pay-per-view. It felt more like a Raw match, to be fair. I think this, similar to the kickoff show match, this was just a way to get Cody Rhodes on the card, in my opinion. Say Judgment Day being taken out by Jey Uso, and the Judgment Day running away from Jey Uso, 3 guys versus 1 guy, made Judgment Day look incredibly weak, and it's something I don't want to see. As someone who's such a big fan of the Judgment Day, why would Balor, Dominic, and JD run away from just Jey Uso? Especially like the caliber of like Finn Balor and JD Madonna. You know, you expect Dominic to run away, but not Balor and JD, in my opinion anyway. Priest got a decent showing, though if he continues to lose all the time, he's going to make him an unconvincing champion when he cashes in Money in the Bank. He needs to start winning, and winning more convincing matches as well, not just like little ones against Sami Zayn in the main event of Raw that nobody watched, but like big pay-per-view matches like this one. I think on pay-per-view, Priest's record is probably really bad, and you know, the only one I can think of him winning is Money in the Bank. So I don't know, it's something I'm not enjoying, as far as like, if you want to build Priest to become a convincing world champion, he has to win matches and look like a champion, and we're just not doing that at the minute. Like, I know that he's currently a tag champion and stuff like that, but I don't know, it's just not sitting well that Priest is coming near. We're getting, to be fair, we are not far off Money in the Bank. I think there's only a handful of pay-per-views before we're back at Money in the Bank again, and he is not. He's not ready to be a world champion, and I worry that he is going to end up running out of time, and they're going to end up rushing a cash in, and it's going to be rubbish, or he's going to be another failed cash in, and it really feels like they shouldn't be doing another failed cash in again. So I don't know. Another thing that's becoming more repetitive is Cody Rhodes using like 3 crossroads to get a win. Like, he doesn't need to do that all the time. Against Brock Lesnar, absolutely, works perfectly. Against Priest, probably not as much. Like maybe 2 or just 1 out of nowhere or something like that. But if it's 3 every time on pay-per-view, then eventually they'll just reverse it or something. Or, you know what I mean? They're supposed to learn from past mistakes or whatever. So, I don't know. I didn't enjoy this one as much. It was okay. Both had a good showing. It was just like, this didn't need to be on the pay-per-view. It was just another cheap way of getting Cody on the card when he didn't need to be. And finally, in the main event of the evening, Roman Reigns successfully defended the undisputed WWE Universal Championship against LA Knight. This match was good. It wasn't Roman's best match, and the finish definitely let it down. But I said, I've written a fair bit. I've written all this about this match, and literally none of it's about LA Knight. But LA Knight had a really good showing here. He had the crowd in the palm of his hands. They were going absolutely radio rental for him in the crowd. They had all the signs that just said yeah. And it was just really good to see, and I'm glad that LA Knight is so over, especially in Saudi Arabia, who, like, for the first few pay-per-views, like, weren't making a lot of noise and weren't a great crowd. Compared to now, it's really good. And he said, yeah, LA Knight he has to be a champion at some point within the next year, or at least in 2024. And he said, I look forward to his rise after this, and I don't think this is the last time he'll be in the main event, but while Roman's champion, he's probably not going to be in a main event match again, which is unfortunate, but that is Roman Reigns, isn't it? But he said he had a good showing. He did take Roman to the limit, and he showed that, like, he can hang with the best, but most of us already knew that anyway. But he did what everybody keeps bloody doing, and he concentrated on everyone else but Roman, who was on the outside. He concentrated too much on Jimmy Uso, and it cost him the match. And yeah, as for Roman, I'll now talk about Roman, because I have a lot here there to talk/rant about. But yeah, Roman started this match differently compared to how he started it before. He didn't start with that slow and methodical pace that he usually goes for. And it kind of gave hope that it would be a different style of match for Roman. But yeah, no, it wasn't. It was literally just the same match he's had all year. It just wasn't as long as the other ones. I think this match only went 20 minutes or just over, whereas his other matches like at WrestleMania and the bigger pay-per-views have been longer than that. But yeah, it's just like, it's the same stuff all the time. It's offense from Roman, defense, offense, defense, interference, spear, 1, 2, 3. And it's so repetitive, it's getting very, very tedious. And I'm getting over Roman Reigns matches now. It's just like, I don't know if it's laziness from Roman, if he's coming in once every few months with a can't be arsed attitude, and he's just like, okay, do this, Like, you can't tell whether Roman is just deciding how matches are going to go and he's just going to do it the way he always does, or whether Triple H is genuinely booking this the way it should go. But we all know Roman is really good in the ring. He just, for whatever reason, can't do anything different at the minute. Like, it has been the same crap every time he defends. Cody interference, Jay interference, LA Knight interference, Drew McIntyre interference. It's getting boring, and it's just like, it's so predictable at this point. And it's like, and it's not predictable as far as like Roman retaining. If Roman was retaining in multiple different ways, with like sometimes with interference, sometimes without, sometimes just having a banger match and winning, it would be more compelling and less predictable. But every time it is just interference, spear, done. And yeah, it's so annoying, and it's, I don't know, I expect more out of a history-making champion. And and when you become a history-making champion, you're held to a higher expectation. And Roman just doesn't hit that expectation at all. Like, I understand that he's supposed to be a heel and he's supposed to be despised, but doesn't get to a point where his whole reign is gonna have an asterisk next to it, because it was fucking boring. And yeah, and it's just like, you go back and you watch like old feuds of his when he was the big dog, and he's literally become everything that he hated. He has become Brock Lesnar circa 2017, 2018. Like, he hated that, and he was saying how, oh man, you should be here all the time and you need a fighting champion, and he's literally become Brock Lesnar, and it's just rubbish, so bad. And yeah, Roman Reigns matches, they feel huge. The promo package before this match aired was brilliant, and it genuinely made me hyped for this match, and it felt like a massive deal. And again, it's just the unimaginative finish of this match, and this spark will eventually fade with Roman Reigns feeling like big match, having the feel of a big match. And yeah, so we now don't see him until, I assume, Royal Rumble, if he can be asked to even show up to that. And I'm thinking / wanting it to be Roman versus AJ Styles or Bobby Lashley. But honestly, I don't know. At this point, it depends if he even wants to work or not. But hopefully, well, to be fair, hopefully, while he's away, he can learn how to win a match clean on his own like a real champion. Because this is getting just fucking tedious and boring, and I'm starting to not care about the most important championship in the WWE. So those are my thoughts and opinions on WWE Crown Jewel 2023. Predictions wise, I got 6 out of 8 matches right, which puts me on 50 out of 71 for the year, which is pretty decent. I think that's I'd say that's actually pretty good, to be fair. But yeah, so anything that you predicted right in the comments, to put down below. What you enjoyed the most about the card, put in the comments as well. Your opinions on Roman Reigns and how you feel about how he's going to take time off for the rest of the year now, from wrestling at least. He might do segments, but they're just segments, aren't they? We'll see our world champion wrestling, really. And yeah, any feedback for me would be much appreciated. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the show. And to say, the next video should be tomorrow, where I'm going to do my Impact Wrestling Turning Point review. And for now, I'll ask you to subscribe, like, share, please comment, and yeah, follow the Instagram as well if you want to as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later on.